So smiling once again to all smiling coders, community members. Now I'm going to talk about a very important aspect of production that is called zero trust. So this zero trust is a very important thing which we implemented for our recent client base. The zero trust is a very important. In fact, I know there are so many Kubernetes developers in this training who have joined to smile in this thing. Zero trust layer is very important. Maybe you heard about it, you can check it. Zero trust is actually for high-end banks. A lot of big organizations implement it because they don't want to have any kind of security breach. Okay, so to implement this zero trust layers in Kubernetes, so they'll implement some identity and access, and they'll implement network, which is very simple process-driven network policies. And the encryption will be there everywhere. That is for images, admission policy everywhere, and they'll do a continuous monitoring as per the industry. That is, if it is a banking has a compliances. If it is a fintech has some compliances. As per the industry, they'll do an observability. Now, this something you might be interesting for you. What is zero trust? You would say that I didn't come across it. You may tell, but I'll give you an example. Production scenario. If you can stay for next 30-40 minutes, you are going to take mind-blowing things in the Kubernetes. That is, you are never going to learn it from anywhere. Okay, that's only from expertise. So I'll tell you zero trust where it is implemented. I'll give an example of Uber. Everybody knows Uber, right? In Uber, there is a ride-hailing infrastructure with thousands of microservices running in the Kubernetes. They are running in Kubernetes actually. In Uber actually uses zero trust practices. It means their microservices will be using exactly, they will have this kind of high-end zero trust security. So that is, maybe I can tell that their microservices will have that zero thing. And the Uber deals with fraud detections and payments also. They need the service-to-service authentication also. And they will have a good firewalls as well. So, and most of the times, if I am telling here, you can get the use cases. So if you have any questions, you can also ask here, guys. So if you just see that, maybe if you can take one interesting aspects here. Okay, Venkatesh, what is this MTLS, right? It is actually a mutual transport layer security. Okay, this is very important. Mutual transport layer security, and this encrypts the traffic between client and server both, and both the side a mutual that is the main transport layer security. They will do an encryption what a client side and server side, and they'll authenticate each other using the certificates. In Kubernetes, this microservices, even pod communication also encrypted, and only trusted workloads can talk each other and prevent any kind of middle attacks. It will completely prevent. That is called zero trust. Okay, and they establish its service mesh. Service mesh is basically to authenticate, automate this all the service to service traffic also. So they do this in the real production. Okay, so that is one of the differences. So that is SSL is normal security, that doesn't matter. Okay, but here this is the main thing. So they will implement this peer authentications, right? That is how you can set it. So the second thing, Redbus. Many of you know Redbus. Redbus booking ticket also across multi-bus operators. They use multi-cloud setup actually. They also use this zero trust practices. Likely they use a Cloudflare, and they are to secure the cluster access instead of VPN. And they use a Cilium network policies to restrict the pod communications also. They encrypt secrets with HashiCorp wallets and all this, they do that. They protect the customer and operator data, ensure there's a highly multi-tenant securities. So now you might get an idea who all are using zero trust. Okay, you can take Paytm also uses it. Paytm also uses zero trust practices because any communication between services, any vaults or any secrets, any databases, all databases are encrypted. They do a continuous audit also, and because Paytm and all are basically have the rules and regulations. They have RBA, and they use compliances which is specific to banks. It's PCI DSS compliances. So for them, zero trust is not optional, but it is a mandatory. It's a mandatory for them. And Book My Show, you have it. They also have heavy event traffic spikes. So they also have this zero trust specifications, right? And they also have zero trust between bookings, payments, and recommendation engines. And now I'll tell you one thing. When you work in a bigger organizations at a great experience level, the most important they'll ask you is to implement this zero trust. And something they'll ask you, it's at a real level, real world, is that the companies will ask you, okay, can we implement this zero trust thing? Don't worry, the minimal coding that you have to add it in is just an YAML file. In the YAML file, you'll just have to add that encryptions. Okay, that is a minimal coding level implementation. But I will tell you really what we have done. Are you excited for that? I hope everybody is excited. In the zero trust principles, generally what is zero trust means? They never trust anyone. They always verify. Okay, the least privilege, they do a strong identity. They check your strong identity and they do encryption. So generally, let's take, there's a Kubernetes cluster which has 10K nodes running. And they have, in this 10K nodes, how it's happening is they have identity and access layer, which has your RBAC and all these things. And there is I told you, transport layer security between services will be there. And the network and pod security also will be there, where the network policies will be there, delaying all of them. Pod level firewalls will be there. Namespaces will be isolated. Lot of this is a real project implementations. And data workload security also there. They encrypt at rest also. They encrypt everything, even admission controllers, image signing, secrets, everything they do, even observability. After encrypting, they will check the observability. They'll audit the logs in the API server, how it's happening. They'll check the kubelet. They'll check runtime monitoring. Okay. They'll do every aspect of it, guys. Every aspect of it they'll do. Okay. And doing all this process, if the zero trust security in your Kubernetes is mainly used in where? Fintech and banking. Now you might get a question immediately, Venkatesh, who is using it? Banks like SDFC, ICICI, SB, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, all of them uses zero trust security. And their wallets, UPI apps, everyone have implemented with zero trust security. Even Zeroda, any kind of company that have zero trust, because all money transactions are always high fraud risk. So every request must be verified. Even healthcare people, Apollo hospitals, and patent data, big tech, cloud also, Google, they use a Beyond Corporation that is there. And so most of the organizations, Netflix and all, have adopted zero trust in Kubernetes for even microservice to microservices communication. They've implemented it so that their data, there is everything is secured here. So there is a lot of security that they've implemented it. Okay. So going further to the security, we'll discuss about the security.